Hey, it's good to see you all again. Let's just jump right into what we're looking for here when we went to the Wisconsin game. Here are the stats to focus on coming into this game from the Indiana game. Yeah, they're ugly, and they come from the last game basically and how poorly they were shooting. So I went back and I looked through the tape and just looked for outside shots that were wide open, and here's what the ugly stats look like. Nothing down in the paint I counted, nothing in close. So nothing Zach Edey did basically. In the first half, Purdue had 8 shots that were wide open. They made 1, and they had 3 air balls, believe it or not. Oh, but it gets even better. In the second half, they had 14 wide open looks, and they made 3. And of course, as many of you know, they made their last 2 wide open shots, and those were both threes. And that kind of even made it worse. So it was 22 wide open shots, and a grand total of 4 were made. Yeah, that's 18%. That means before those last 2 shots, they were 2 for 20, which was only 10%. So you can see just a few more shots. You can shoot 33%, you win the game pretty easily, or at least it changes the outcome, and who knows what happens. Coach Painter, though, as he started this game, he jumbled the starting lineup a little bit as Brandon Newman was getting the start. Ziti started off awful, though. He was 1 for 6 on free throws. And Purdue is down like 8-10 at the 11:55 mark. Kind of a really slow game. Although TKR came in, he had a beautiful back down and got a shot to tie the game at right around 10. All right, at 10. Now, the game is being played at Wisconsin's pace. It looks really slow. They like to slow everything down. Everything seems to go to the end of the clock. But Zach Edey comes in and immediately draws a foul and then gets a quick bucket after that timeout on the first possession. So Wisconsin brings the ball back down, and Brandon Newman makes a great steal and fast break layup as Purdue is now up 16-12 in the blink of an eye from Edey and Brandon Newman, just like that. So Ziti was doing a great job, Zach Edey and Brandon Newman with lots of energy. 12 minutes into the first half, and Purdue is 1 for 5 on three-pointers, while Wisconsin is 2 for 6. Their shooting a long ball was definitely a question coming into the game, and after the poor performance last week, and currently they're still shooting pretty bad. Remember, these are my notes as I went through the game. Now, the next possession, Wisconsin knocks down a 3 and is now 3 for 7, and the score is 20-19. Still Purdue's up, though. At the 5-minute mark, comes that Michigan has basically lost in double overtime to Illinois. I don't think any of the players know, but Coach Painter did know by the halftime. And they're the outright winner now of the Big Ten Championship. So that happened in the middle of the first half. As that news comes, though, Brandon Newman makes another steal for another layup, and Purdue is now up 24-19 with just 4.5 minutes left to go in the first half. After another steal, this one by Smitty, and a toss into Ziti, who gets double-teamed. He then pops it back out to Smitty, who drains Purdue's second three-pointer of the night. Only the second one. It's really late in the first half. The Boilermakers are now up 27-21 with 3 minutes and a half basically left. And Purdue is now 9 points off of Wisconsin's turnovers. So the turnovers are starting to show some points for Purdue. But the flow of the game is still starting to pick up now. It's just a little quicker, but not still kind of slow. And teams are still just running their offenses until they get an open shot, sometimes right near the end of the clock. Well, now Wisconsin counters with their own 3 and has now hit 4 of 9 three-pointers on the night to close the gap up a little bit as we get towards the half. This guy named Lindsey comes off the bench for Wisconsin, and he hits a couple of threes, and the second one, Flash was right in his face. He stepped back, but Flash put his hand up there, he nails it, and Wisconsin's now 5 of 11 on three-pointers. Woo, they're hot. You got to love when guys come off the bench to help, especially ones who have scored just 24 points all season. Now he added 8 already for Wisconsin, so he has 32 for the season at that point. But you also got to ask yourself, what's going on? How does this keep happening? All right, both teams cannot make a bucket in the last 30 seconds, and they go to halftime, 31-27 Purdue. Now, some of the numbers at the half still look pretty good. Even though it was a slow-paced game, Purdue did get to 31 points. Ziti has 9 points with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Lawyer has 9 points. Braden Smith, Smitty I like to call him, has 5 points. And 20 of Purdue's 31 points have come in the paint. That's what you would expect, and it's exactly what was happening. Now, Purdue was shooting 58% from the field despite the three-point drought, basically, while the Badgers are just shooting 42%. But they're 5 of 11 from three-point range, while Purdue is 2 of 10. That's why the game is close. Or partially, anyway, the reason. The second half starts off with a turnover by Wisconsin and then 2 wide-open threes that Purdue misses, of course. Not much has changed from earlier on in the first half. They cannot hit the outside shot right now. It's been that way for a few weeks. But finally, someone scores at the 17:33 mark as Ziti gets an offensive rebound and puts it back in for the first 2 points in the second half. So 2.5 minutes before anybody scored. Wisconsin fouls with an air ball. It's batted high into the air, grabbed by a guy who hits another three-pointer for the Badgers with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. It was a wild play with the batted ball into the air. It looked like volleyball instead of basketball. Wisconsin is now 6 for 13 on three-pointers, while Purdue is 2 for 12. You can see why the game is close. Now, Purdue has had 8 turnovers, while Wisconsin has had 7, so that's pretty close. And there's really not been a lot of fouls called in this game. Although they're bouncing around, they're not really being brutal. We're not getting a lot of these hooks and the things we saw earlier in February. After a Brandon Newman free throw, Wisconsin hits 2 more three-pointers and has now hit 8 of 15 from behind the line. And they took the lead, 38-34, with 15 minutes left in the second half, all on three-point shooting. The Badgers are on an 11-1 scoring run, and that took about 1 minute and 49 seconds. That's all that took, and they, boom, 11-1, and they took the lead. Okay, so this game looks eerily, this is what I wrote down, eerily similar to the last game as Purdue cannot make an outside shot and is now 2 of 8 from the free throw line, too, so they're awful there. Holy moly is what I wrote down in this next one. After a Purdue 2 from Flash, Wisconsin hits its 4th three of the half and are now shooting 9 of 16 for a crazy high percentage. They're up 41-36 with 14 minutes left to go, and they are en fuego. You know what that means? It's hot, of course. They're shooting great. The crowd's starting to get into it, and you can see the Badgers look like they think they can win this game as their confidence is soaring currently. It just looked like they were ready to play. Purdue just seemed kind of there. I don't know. Wisconsin took 3 three-pointers in one possession right after this, and Purdue knocked the ball out twice. They still almost banked one in. It went in and out, but they missed all 3 to finally cool off just a little bit. Purdue has a chance to tie the game now with like 11 minutes left in the game after a few missed shots, and Ethan Morton hit 2 threes in a row. It was over about a 3-minute stretch, those 2 shots, and now Purdue takes the lead 50-48. So finally somebody hits some threes, and it's Ethan Morton. All right, that was awesome. Now, Wisconsin hit another 3 to take the lead, 53-52 in this back-and-forth battle. Other than the 2 Morton threes, Purdue still cannot hit wide-open shots. And I'm talking wide open, which they're getting a lot of them, just like they did against Indiana. Now, both teams trade the lead back and forth, and both teams turned it over via the shot clock violation. I think Purdue did it twice, and Wisconsin did it once. And Purdue's now in the bonus, though, foul-wise, and that could come down as a strong indicator for the win as they head down the stretch with 4 minutes left in the game. Again, remember, that's what I wrote as we were going through it. Now, this is what I also said. Currently, Purdue is only 4 for 10 from the free throw line. That is crazy numbers right there. And they're behind, right? So with 1 minute and 7 seconds left in the game, Purdue is up 58-57. Zach Edey has another double-double already with 17 points and 19 rebounds. And Purdue has the ball as they go to a timeout. So, after several crisp passes, Morton gets a wide-open 3, and it rattles in and out this time. And Wisconsin gets the rebound and calls timeout with 36 seconds left in the game. So there's a lot going on here. Hang with me now. As the game comes down with these last 30 seconds. First, Wisconsin missed their close-in shot, and they were in close. Purdue gets the rebound, passes it around for a while, and with like 21 seconds left, Wisconsin finally fouls Newman, who knocks down both free throws. And Purdue's now made 7 straight free throws after that awful start. And they're up 60-57. Now, there have been 13 lead changes and 8 ties in this game. That is weird, crazy, right? Really close game. For about a 7-minute stretch, neither team could get up by more than 1 as they traded baskets just back and forth. That's also kind of odd, right? But a good, tough game by both teams were being played, although it was slow. Purdue fouls the Badgers with 9 seconds left, and they make both ends of the 1-and-1 to make it 60-59. Wisconsin does the same thing on the inbound pass, and Smitty goes to the line this time for 2 shots. And he drains both, and Purdue's back up by 3 again with 8 seconds left. The foul fest continues now as Purdue fouled Wisconsin to go to the line for another 1-and-1 with 6.7 seconds left, I think is what it was. Both teams hitting their free throws, though, down the stretch in this exciting game, going right down to the last second. And sure enough, they make them, and we're back to a 1-point game. On the inbound pass, Morton jumps inbounds because it kind of bounces off of Newman, who is kind of getting run over, and the batted ball, but Morton comes inbounds, grabs it, and gets fouled with 4 seconds left. So now he has a chance to put them up. He only makes one of them, though, and they're up 63-61, and you know what you start thinking in your mind. But this led to a desperation shot from almost half court, and Wisconsin missed it. Purdue wins the game 63-61. It really was an exciting game, a pretty well-played game by both teams. Purdue's now 25-5 on the season and 14-5 as the Big Ten outright champs. So they didn't back into it. They won the game to get in there for sure. Wisconsin, though, who was shooting almost 60% from three-point land, started to finally go cold, and that allowed Purdue to get this win. But the outside shooting of Purdue on wide-open shots continues to be very poor. They're getting 15 of them a game, probably even 20. We got to start making some of those, you Boilermakers out there. But Purdue did out-rebound Wisconsin 37-23 and outscored them in the paint 30-18, and those were large pluses that led to the win in this game. So, tough defense. It looked like some guys were getting shots, but they shot great, and they kind of stopped it there. They're now 4 of 19 from behind the three-point line in the game. That's only 22%, and that's got to be tightened up. Remember last game? Yeah, 18%, now 22. Not good at all. You're going to lose against good teams that way. It's also the 10th time in 18 seasons Coach Painter has won 25 games with his team. That, my friends, is a sign of a good program. Those of you whining about it out there. A good program. Maybe they'll win this thing pretty soon. Purdue now has 10 quad 1 wins, 15 quad 1, and 2 victories. Plus, they're 17-5 this season against Ken Palm top 100 teams. Only Kansas has more wins than Purdue does. Coach Painter said he was really proud of his guys, this is after the game, who toughed it out through a couple of poor stretches. We did a lot of good things the last 4 minutes of the game as we made our free throws and they got stops when they needed it. I believe we can put a big string together and make a big run, he thought. So that was in his press conference after the game. Now, here's some of the weird numbers. Well, they're actually good numbers in some points. Zach Edey gets, his 23rd double-double this season. 17 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists and a block. He probably should have had more assists, but guys can't make shots, it seems like. Fletcher Lawyer, Flash I like to call him. 13 points, 2 assists. Max Klesman from Wisconsin had 19 points. He's the guy who did the most damage. And Chucky Hepburn had 13 points, 2 rebounds and assists for Wisconsin too. So those were the 2 big guys for each team, at least points-wise. And, of course, both of them on both sides really had something to do with who won this game. So, you know, we think to ourselves, what can we take from this game? Was it any different than the Indiana game? Well, it was, but a lot of things were the same. And one thing was they were slow. They came out. Purdue seems like slow. They seem a step behind, it seems like, especially the guards, leading to drives and some mid-range shots, which has been their Achilles heel. Maybe it was more the competition, as Wisconsin likes to slow things down. Maybe it's tired legs, but not fully on pace for what they really want heading into the tournaments. So hopefully they'll be able to pick that up in the next couple weeks. Purdue has Illinois at home in the season finale, which is also the last home game on Sunday. A good or great performance can help in trying to lock in a #1 seed heading towards the NCAA tournament. All right, that's it for now. I know you thought we would never be at this point, but we're getting towards the end of the season. We'll see you next time